Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared, and it's time once again for my monthly update. This is the update for July 2026, and happy anniversary to the United States of America, where I live. Um, 250 years tomorrow, actually, but who's counting? All right, so what have I read in June? What have I? What am I reading now? And then what are my future reading plans? Yeah, we got through a good amount of books in June. It was a pretty decent reading month. And we're gonna start off the bat right away with Dr. Blood Money by Philip K. Dick. This is part of the Sci-Fi Masterwork series, and so I finished that. We had a discussion on this book. It was a very strange and interesting book, as Philip K. Dick is if you ever read any of his stuff, you know that that's how he can be. And yeah, really like this one though. It was probably one of my favorite PKD books. Right up there. I mean, I really like Scanner Darkly, Doctor Blood Money, or How We Learn to Live with the Bomb, or something like that. Yeah, it was really good. So check out my review on that. Check out our discussion on Doctor Blood Money and for the Sci-Fi Masterworks series. And good stuff. Good stuff. All right. After Doctor Blood Money, we also got here. I finished book one in the Sacred Hunt duology by Michelle West. I finished Hunter's Oath. Some 90s traditional fantasy I thought was very well done. I like Michelle West has some pretty good prose. I am going to be having a discussion on this with Vasha from Reading by the Rainy Mountain and coming up soon. But yeah, promising first book. Lot of setup for the world, so there was a lot of exposition, but the story itself was also pretty compelling. The characters were pretty compelling, and it didn't go out of the bounds too much in originality, but if you like good prose with solid fantasy, pretty good world building, that's a book you might want to check out. Hunter's Oath is. So I finished that, and I also finished a reread of This Day All Gods Die by Stephen Donaldson, The Gap into Ruin. This is the fifth book in the Gap cycle, the last final book, and probably one of the greatest endings of a series that you'll ever read. It's so good, so fantastic. Probably will. I don't see how this could not be my reread of the year. It is that good. It is so good. All right, finish that. Also finished another very good book um, for the Speculative Speculation podcast. Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card. This is the second book in end the Enders Quartet, Enders Game Court, Enders. Yeah, so I think that's what they call it now. It really wasn't um, a set amount of books for series, but I think they group it into four now. But anyways, Speaker for the Dead. This was fantastic. It was very just deep, compelling writing. I liked it better than Ender's Game, but you do need to read Ender's Game to really get the gist for this book. Speaking for the Dead, fantastic book. I really liked it. Also, I finished a novella by Stephen Donaldson, The King's Justice. I had a discussion with my friend Chris on my channel for the short fiction side hustle, and this was a fantastic novella by Donaldson, and once again in that classic fantasy vein. But it's amazing how much world building Donaldson can get done with just over 100 pages, and he creates this unique world, this unique magic, and it's just incredible what he did in such a short time. So we had a lot of fun discussing the King's Justice, and so check out that discussion as well. I also finished this doozy here, Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is part of the our literary fiction side hustle that we're doing with our little brackets here, and yeah, I enjoyed this book a lot. I think it's really good, really good. Some really great character work. Some pretty deep themes. You know, it's about life. So that's always a pretty solid theme to talk about. But yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to talk about it with Vasha and Chris. So that is gonna be fun. All right. Those are all the the bigger books that I finished. I also have finished four more volumes in the there we go, Lone Wolf and Cub series. So where Steve and I from Page Chewing are making our way through the Lone Wolf and Cub series, one of these a week, and it's it's a pretty hefty undertaking, but man, and it's a reread for me, so I continue the year of the reread basically. uh, and these are fantastic. They are so good. One of my favorite comic book series of all times, and definitely my favorite manga. Um, and we're having a great time talking about those books on Panel Chewing. So check that out, that podcast. All right. I also read Out of Fall and Ascent, Individuation in the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Michael Woods. I read the section on the Bone Hunters. Uh, just to keep up with they're doing a read along on Page Chewing of all the Malazan books, and so I read the section on the Bone Hunters to keep up with where they're at right now. And this is fantastic. If you've read the whole Malazan Book of the Fallen, the 10 book series by Steven Erickson, check this out. It takes a look at the Jungian Carl Jung uh, philosophy in regards as it relates to the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and it's really pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff indeed. All right, so I read that section. What else we got here? Ah, yes. So on to the short stories from the Big Book of Science Fiction. On the Speculative Speculation podcast, we read one of these almost every week. I read the stories The Frozen Cardinal by Michael Moorcock, which was literally about a frozen cardinal. It's kind of strange, but then on another planet. So, it went in that direction. That was pretty cool. It was all right. We read a story called Rachel in Love by Pat Murphy, and this was a interesting story about a scientist who transfers his daughter's consciousness into an ape because she was dying. So and the ramifications of that. Wow, that was pretty intense. That was pretty interesting story. And then we read Sharing Air by Manjula Padmanabhan, and this was a really short one, but it was very interesting because it was about a future where people walked around breathing their own oxygen, and they would buy air from the 20th century and sniff it like glue or something. It was it was pretty wild. It was ironic story, and it was pretty fun. All right, so also out of the collection Shaper of Worlds Volume 5, I read a story called The Palmist by Robin Stevens Payne. Pays Robin Stevens Pays, yeah, and this was a pretty cool story. It took place in the future, but it had a lot to relate with the Greek gods, and there was certain players that like the palmist was basically an oracle, and the uh, the main character was related to the gods in some fashion. So it was a pretty neat story. I really enjoyed it. So that was fun. I read another tale out of Chinese myths and folk tales. This one was called "The Tiger of Chao Cheng." And this one was actually pretty good. I've been disappointed in some of these stories, but this one actually was really cool, to the point. Um, a tiger kills an old woman's son. She demands recompense from the authorities, like they're supposed to go arrest some tiger in the woods. But they humor her. They send a guy out who agreed to do it because he got too drunk to disagree. It's kind of funny. So then he's scared, and he's going out, and he starts praying at a temple, and the tiger shows up and just gives himself up. And the guy takes him. They arrest the tiger, and the tiger is sentenced to take the place of this woman's son, and he does it, and he ends up bringing her like deer carcasses and stuff, and supporting her with food, and he ends up bringing her trinkets from who knows where, and she ends up dying rich, and the tiger inherits everything, and then goes up to a temple and disappears, and they build a monument to the tiger. So it was cool. All that in like a page and a half. It was a funny story. All right. Also, out of Asimov's science fiction magazine, the March April issue from 2024, I read a story called "The Inefficiency of Pangenetic Self Replication as a Theory of Anthroporobotic Evolution" by Yantra Aurora. Yeah, that's the title. By Ashok Banker. Um, yeah, in spite of the mouthful of a title, this was an awesome story. It was really good. Uh, and it tells the tale of basically a robot who comes up with this in a robot society, way far in the future on different planets. This robot in a robot society comes up with this theory that in another universe, there's organic beings who actually created robots. Imagine that. So, great story by that guy. So yeah, I finished that, and what else did I finish? Yeah, I think that's everything I finished in June. Pretty sure. So what am I reading right now? Well, I'll tell you. That's why I'm here. Um, I am reading Conan: Songs of the Slain by Tim Levin, and I'm having a good time as always with a Conan book, because it's just a Conan book. You don't expect too much, and it's a fun book to read. Tim Levin is doing a pretty decent job at telling an interesting story about King Conan in his later years, and every time it's funny because every time you get these stories about King Conan, they're always him thinking about some excuse to get away from being a king and going off and doing an adventure. So that's basically what's happening here. And nothing surprising. It's just fun. It's just fun reading, and I'm like two thirds of the way through here. So pretty much, and so having a good time with that. But I'm also reading, a little bit the other direction on the literary spectrum. Uh, I Hear a New World by Alan Moore. I am halfway through this, and man, this is a banger. I am enjoying the heck out of this. This is the sequel to The Great One in Alan Moore's Long London Novels series. There's going to be five of them, and this is the second one. And it just came out like a month ago or so. And yeah, it's awesome. It's so good. Dennis Knuckleyard, the main character. What a name! Um, but it is just fantastic. I am enjoying the heck out of this. So I'm about almost halfway through this book now. And yeah, good time indeed. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. So what we got coming up? Let's see here. Coming up this month, I will be reading the next novella in the King's Justice collection, and I actually have a separate copy of it by itself. And this is called The Augur's Gambit by Stephen Donaldson. Now, for some reason, this is called a novella, even though it's longer than some other books you would see on the shelf. It's so to me, this is a novel. It's 180 pages. I mean, this is a novel, The Augur's Gambit, and I I'm looking forward to this. I remember this will be a reread. I remember liking it, so that's for the short fiction side hustle. That'll be coming up sometime this month. Also, I'm going to be reading Non-Stop by Brian Aldiss. This is part of the Sci-Fi Masterwork read along. I'll probably start that towards the end of the month sometime. And also towards the end of the month, I will be reading Xenocide by Orson Scott Card, the third book in the Enders Quartet. So that is something that we'll be reading for Speculative Speculation podcast. So that's coming up, and I'll probably choose something else from my vast pile, unread pile over there. Not on the shelf, but the ones on the bottom there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's everything. That is my July 2026 update. I hope you guys are having a good reading month. And with all that said, be good to each other. And thank you for watching.
Never one for conversation. Give me silence or a song. Composing all emotion.